What if miracles are not random gifts, but responses waiting for a clear command? What if life is not testing you, but listening to you? Most people hope, wish, pray, and wait, yet wonder why nothing changes. The truth is simple and unsettling at the same time. Life does not respond to need, it responds to authority. The moment you understand how to speak from spiritual command instead of emotional desire, circumstances begin to rearrange themselves with astonishing speed. This is not about forcing outcomes. It is about aligning your words, thoughts, and inner conviction with a law that never fails. When you learn how to command from truth rather than fear, miracles stop being rare events and start becoming a natural pattern of living. The first principle rests on a truth that most people resist at first because it challenges how they have been conditioned to think. Authority must come before evidence. The human mind is trained to believe only what it can see, touch, or measure. From early life, proof is treated as the starting point, not the result. Yet the deeper law of life works in reverse. Every visible condition is an echo of something already accepted inwardly. When a person waits for proof before believing, they are surrendering their creative power to appearances. They are allowing circumstances to dictate inner state. Authority begins the moment you decide that the unseen is more reliable than the visible, and that decision alone starts to shift the sequence of events. Most people unknowingly practice delayed faith. They say they will believe when things improve, they will relax when money arrives, they will feel confident when success is guaranteed. This mindset places authority outside the self. It turns life into a negotiation with conditions that have no intelligence of their own. When you understand that circumstances are reactions rather than causes, you stop arguing with what you see. You realize that the outer world is always catching up to an inner order that has already been issued. The delay is not denial. It is simply the time it takes for form to follow instruction. To claim authority before evidence does not mean pretending or forcing positive thinking. It means choosing a deeper level of certainty that is not shaken by temporary appearances. There is a quiet difference between hoping and knowing. Hope looks forward with uncertainty. Knowing stands firm without tension. When you speak or think from this knowing, there is no urgency in your tone. Urgency signals doubt. Authority is calm because it does not need to convince anyone, including itself. This calm certainty is what allows the unseen intelligence of life to reorganize events without resistance. When authority is established internally, behavior changes naturally. Decisions become clearer, reactions soften, fear loses its grip because fear feeds on the belief that something external has power over you. Once you stop giving authority to evidence, you stop being emotionally controlled by it. This does not mean ignoring reality, it means understanding its place. Reality is a report, not a verdict, and reports can change when the source changes. The source is always consciousness. The reason this principle works so consistently is because life responds to direction, not emotion. Strong emotions without authority only create more movement without results. Authority without emotional struggle creates order. This is why some people seem to move through challenges effortlessly, while others remain stuck despite effort. The difference is not luck or talent, it is the ability to claim inner authority before the world agrees. Those who understand this do not wait to feel confident. Confidence appears as a consequence of alignment, not as a prerequisite. Once this foundation is understood, the second principle becomes unavoidable. Words are not wishes, they are instructions. Every time you speak, you are giving form a direction. Most people underestimate the impact of casual speech because the effects are not always immediate. Yet delayed results do not mean weak power. They simply mean accumulated instruction. When someone repeatedly speaks about lack, struggle, or delay, they are not describing life. They are shaping it. Life listens without judgment. It does not correct language. It fulfills it. Wishing is passive. Instructions are active. When words are spoken with uncertainty, they carry mixed signals. The mind hears desire, but the underlying belief communicates doubt. This contradiction weakens the outcome. Clear instruction comes from clarity of inner agreement. When words match belief, they move beyond sound and become directive energy. This is why repetition alone is not enough. Words must be spoken from a settled state rather than emotional intensity. Emotion often feels powerful, but if it is rooted in fear or desperation, it sends unstable signals. Many people unknowingly cancel their own instructions throughout the day. They affirm something in one moment and contradict it in the next. They speak faith in private and doubt in conversation. They declare confidence internally and complain externally. Life does not choose which statement to follow. It responds to the dominant pattern. This is why awareness of speech is so critical, not rigid control but conscious alignment. When speech becomes intentional, results become predictable. Instructions that work are simple, calm, and final in tone. They do not explain themselves. They do not argue with circumstances. They are stated as facts, not hopes. There is a difference between saying something because you want it and saying something because you accept it as truth. The latter carries authority. The former carries longing. Life responds to acceptance more quickly than desire because acceptance signals readiness. It is also important to understand that silence can be as powerful as speech. Speaking less but with clarity strengthens impact. When words are used sparingly, they hold weight. Constant verbal repetition without belief creates noise, not movement. The most effective instructions are often spoken once internally with conviction and then released. This release allows the instruction to operate without interference. As awareness grows, speech begins to reflect inner discipline. Complaints fall away naturally because they no longer feel useful. Fear-based statements lose their appeal because they are recognized as misdirection. Words become tools rather than habits. This shift alone changes the quality of daily experience. Relationships respond differently. Opportunities appear unexpectedly. Challenges resolve with less friction. Not because life has changed, but because the instructions have. When authority precedes evidence and words are treated as instructions rather than wishes, the entire relationship with life transforms. There is no longer a sense of pleading with an external force. There is cooperation instead of struggle. Life stops feeling random and starts feeling responsive. And once this responsiveness is understood through experience, belief is no longer required. Results become the teacher, reinforcing the law through direct observation rather than theory. Detachment is often misunderstood because the mind associates it with indifference or lack of desire, yet true detachment is the highest form of confidence. It is the state that follows a clear inner command, not the absence of intention. When someone is attached, they keep pulling at the situation mentally, checking for signs, replaying conversations, imagining delays, and questioning timing. This constant mental interference sends mixed signals. It says trust and doubt at the same time. Detachment, on the other hand, is the quiet assurance that once the direction is given, there is no need to supervise the process. Life responds best when it is not micromanaged by fear. The reason detachment accelerates results is because it removes resistance. Resistance is not always negative thinking. Often it is overthinking. The mind believes that by worrying, analyzing, or revisiting the desire, it is being responsible. In truth, it is slowing the movement of things. Detachment shifts responsibility from anxious effort to calm allowance. It says the order has been placed and the system knows how to deliver. This internal release creates space. And space allows movement. Many people experience sudden breakthroughs only after they stop trying so hard. This is not coincidence. It is law in motion. Detachment does not mean doing nothing in the outer world. Action still happens, but it is inspired rather than forced. When you are detached, actions feel lighter, decisions are clearer. You are not driven by the fear of loss or the pressure of outcome. You move when prompted and pause when necessary. This rhythm aligns you with timing that the rational mind cannot calculate. Struggle disappears because you are no longer pushing against invisible currents. You are moving with them. There is also emotional freedom in detachment. When the outcome is no longer tied to self-worth, peace becomes stable. You stop measuring your value by results or reactions. This emotional stability is magnetic. It attracts cooperation, clarity, and unexpected support. People often assume that intensity produces results, but it is composure that creates consistency. Detachment keeps the nervous system calm, and a calm system makes better choices. Those choices compound into outcomes that appear effortless from the outside. Alignment is the natural companion to detachment. When inner belief, emotional state, and outward expression are moving in the same direction, there is no inner friction. Many delays occur because part of the mind wants change, while another part expects disappointment. This inner division weakens momentum. Alignment begins with honesty. It requires noticing where thoughts contradict spoken intentions. When these contradictions are gently corrected, energy stops leaking. What once felt exhausting begins to feel simple. Alignment does not require perfection, it requires coherence. When belief is stable enough to support desire, movement becomes smooth. You no longer feel the need to convince yourself repeatedly. There is an inner yes that settles the matter. This inner agreement influences how you speak, how you listen, and how you interpret events. Even challenges are viewed differently. Instead of signs of failure, they become adjustments. This shift alone prevents emotional collapse during transitions. When alignment is present, effort decreases and effectiveness increases. You are no longer fighting your own expectations. The mind stops oscillating between hope and doubt. This steadiness allows intuition to surface. You sense when to speak and when to remain quiet, when to act and when to wait. These subtle cues are often ignored when the mind is noisy. Alignment quiets that noise. It creates a clear channel through which insight can flow. One of the most powerful indicators of alignment is ease. Ease does not mean the absence of responsibility or challenge. It means the absence of inner conflict. You can be working toward a goal while feeling peaceful at the same time. This state is often mistaken for complacency, but it is actually precision. Energy is no longer wasted on internal resistance. Every thought and action supports the same direction. Results then appear not through force, but through inevitability. When detachment releases control and alignment removes struggle, life responds with efficiency. Situations rearrange themselves in ways the conscious mind could not plan. People enter and exit naturally. Solutions arrive without drama. This does not make life passive, it makes it intelligent. You become a participant rather than a controller, and in that role, outcomes unfold with a sense of rightness that feels both surprising and familiar, as if things are finally working the way they always were meant to. Gratitude is often treated as a reaction to good outcomes. Yet its real power appears when it is practiced before any visible change occurs. When gratitude comes first, it shifts the inner position from waiting to receiving. This shift is subtle but decisive. Waiting assumes lack. Receiving assumes fulfillment. The mind that is grateful in advance is no longer scanning the environment for proof. It has already accepted completion. This acceptance alters perception, behavior, and expectation simultaneously. Life responds quickly to this state because it signals readiness rather than need. Gratitude stabilizes faith by giving it emotional form. Faith without feeling can remain abstract, but gratitude grounds it in experience. When you feel thankful for something not yet seen, you are not pretending. You are aligning with the certainty that the unseen is already active. This state dissolves impatience. Time no longer feels like an enemy. Delays stop being interpreted as rejection. Instead, they are understood as part of an unfolding process that is already secured. Gratitude transforms the inner atmosphere, and the outer world reflects that change with remarkable precision. Another overlooked aspect of gratitude is how it quiets mental interference. The grateful mind is not busy negotiating or doubting. It rests. This rest allows deeper intelligence to operate without obstruction. Many people unknowingly block results by continuously revisiting the same desire with concern or urgency. Gratitude interrupts this cycle. It closes the loop. It says this matter is settled. When the mind accepts settlement, it stops generating conflicting instructions. This clarity accelerates outcomes in ways that often feel sudden and unexpected. Persistence without emotional struggle is the natural extension of gratitude. Persistence is not repetition fueled by fear. It is steady affirmation anchored in calm certainty. Emotional struggle weakens persistence because it drains energy and introduces doubt. Calm persistence strengthens belief because it reinforces stability. When you repeat a truth without anxiety, it becomes familiar to the mind. Familiarity builds acceptance. Acceptance builds expectation, and expectation shapes experience. Many people confuse intensity with power. They believe that strong emotion proves commitment. In reality, strong emotion often signals inner conflict. True power is quiet. It does not rush or panic. Calm persistence reflects mastery of inner state. You are no longer trying to force change. You are maintaining alignment. Each repetition is not an attempt to convince life. It is a reminder to yourself of what you have already chosen to accept as true. There is also discipline in persistence without emotion. It requires awareness of inner reactions and the willingness to return to calm whenever the mind drifts. This is not suppression, it is redirection. When fear appears, it is acknowledged and released rather than indulged. The focus returns to certainty. Over time, this practice retrains the mind. Doubt loses its authority. Stability becomes the default state. Results follow because life responds to consistency more than intensity. Persistence works best when it is free from urgency. Urgency implies that something might go wrong. Calm implies trust in timing. When persistence is calm, it allows space for unexpected channels to open. Solutions arrive through conversations, insights, or opportunities that could not have been predicted. This flexibility is essential. Rigid expectation narrows possibility. Calm persistence keeps the field open. As gratitude and calm persistence become habitual, the inner relationship with life changes completely. There is no longer a sense of struggle or negotiation. There is cooperation. You feel supported rather than tested. Challenges are met with steadiness instead of fear. This steadiness is not emotional numbness, it is confidence rooted in understanding. You know that repetition without strain strengthens direction, and that gratitude without evidence signals completion. Over time, this approach reshapes identity. You no longer see yourself as someone trying to make things happen. You become someone who maintains inner order and allows outcomes to align. This identity shift is powerful because it influences every area of life simultaneously. Relationships soften, decisions simplify, opportunities feel timely rather than forced. All of this emerges naturally when gratitude becomes proof of faith and persistence becomes an expression of calm authority rather than emotional effort.